Good evening, my friends. This is Paul, and tonight I'm going to be reviewing to you Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. Well, more or less a retrospective, seeing as now we have confirmation that there's going to be another Smash Bros. Game, and Sakurai himself is doing it. So, first and foremost, this game is for the Wii U. Wow, Paul, I never would have guessed that. What gave it away? 'Cause it says so right in the title. Yeah, that just reeks of either laziness or they must have been too taxed by putting it on both the 3DS and the Wii U and didn't have time to cram all of their resources into creating the ultimate I gotta get a Wii U for this game. Because a lot of people are going to say that the two versions are nearly identical, just the Wii U is bigger and has HD. So therefore, might as well just get the 3DS version. It has all the same characters, items, basic structure of classic mode, etc. So, let's look back at how the fans saw the first couple of Smash Bros. Games and compare it to how Super Smash Bros. For Wii U was seen by the public. So, when the original Super Smash Bros. Came out, it was kind of more or less a tech demo. It looked ugly even by Nintendo 64 standards, but you couldn't deny that it was most likely the number one multiplayer game on the system. And you had Nintendo characters beating each other up in an era when that was just unheard of. The closest you could get was like Mario Party or Mario Kart, but that was only Mario characters. Now you had Link, Samus, Donkey Kong all in one game. Then Melee came around, and only 14 months later they managed to improve on the N64 version in every imaginable way and showed off the tech of the GameCube so impressively that a lot of GameCube games can't even come close to the production values of Melee, including some of its stunning, fully orchestrated pieces for some of the stages. And then Brawl came along and promised an entire huge adventure mode that had 50 save files, cutscenes, and boss battles. This was going to be the Smash Bros. Game to end all Smash Bros. Games. And it made owners say, wow, the Wii can do that? Because it was an underpowered system at the time, yet it had some pretty incredible renditions of the characters, items, and stages that were previously retro only. And then Smash for 3DS and Wii U were announced, and it was kind of just like, oh ho hum, the next Super Smash Bros. Game is coming to the 3DS and the Wii U. And they'll be mostly the same, and there won't be an adventure mode because Sakurai didn't like that people uploaded the story mode cutscenes from Brawl onto YouTube. Say what? You're gonna deny the fans like that? Okay, I've gone on for over 2 minutes about the other Smash Bros. Games. Let's talk about what this game got right before I moan and groan all day about the lack of a story mode. Which I'll moan and groan even more if they don't have it in the next one, but at least they're doing everything else right. Anyway, this game introduced 8-player Smash to the Smash Bros. Series for the first time. As you can see, I've got 5 on the screen, and it's already pretty darn chaotic. I'd be surprised if you can tell which one is me half the time. Hint, if you are having trouble reading what it says above my head, it says Nintendo Nerd, because Nintendo Nerd wouldn't fit. 8-player Smash is for the most part a blast, and for a lot of the more hated stages, like Wily Castle, if you have like 6 players, you can even get rid of the obstacles on many of the stages, which would have been nice as a standard option, but at least it exists in some form. The problem is that they're not only restricted to certain stages, but it can be really, really hard to tell what's going on. And maybe Sakurai wanted players to have options to have a more hectic, less laid-back time and be casual. And it's great that the game embraced making bigger stages to accommodate for that. While they may not be fan favorites, at the very least, they have options. And I respect them for that. This was also the first Super Smash Bros. Game to have custom movesets. Technically, the 3DS version had it, but I'm sort of including it in this review as well because, like I said, they are pretty much the same game. I just don't have a 3DS capture card. Custom moves were a cool concept, having Link have a breezy spin attack versus a regular spin attack. You could have Luigi throw ice balls instead of fireballs. Those were some cool concepts. Unfortunately, they didn't really pay off very well in the long run. For one, it made the character rosters very unbalanced, because you could have a super overpowered character and your friends would have an underpowered character, and some characters were overpowered to begin with, like Little Mac, for example. You put him on a ground level and he's pretty much unstoppable. But then, what was even harder was the process of unlocking custom skills and stat boosts, is they were unlocked for the most part completely randomly. And sometimes you would get skills that you already had for no discernible reason. There is absolutely no strategy whatsoever in unlocking these parts apart from play a mode where you can get it, and then just pray to whatever god you believe in, or cross your fingers if you don't believe in a god, that they'll exist. And that's kind of stupid, because I've never liked, ever since Melee, the fact that you could get trophies that you already had. I think players should be consistently rewarded for playing the game. And just giving them stuff they already have that doesn't actually serve a purpose once you re-get it is just stupid game design. This game also introduced a ton of new modes. While it didn't have the Smash Run that made the 3DS version so great, nor the Street Smash, which was basically a, hey, you know, the world ends with you, is actually a pretty cool game. This introduced, among the more controversial of the game modes, Smash Tour. The less that's said about that mode is more, so I'm just going to be brief and say that I kind of hated it, and I know a lot of people that share my sentiment. In fact, pretty much everyone shares my sentiment. Now, it does eventually get a little bit easier when you play it more, especially when some of the stuff you have to unlock requires you to play it. But it's definitely not my favorite mode. In fact, it's actually my second least favorite mode, next to how they completely butchered the target test. Mostly because it doesn't work for a Smash Brothers game. There's just too much going on at the same time, and if Sakurai himself couldn't even explain it in words when he was first introducing the concept in the Smash Direct, I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to say I hope it doesn't come back, and I hope it ends up being in one of those Nintendo's biggest missteps videos, whenever they're made somewhere along the line. Super Smash Bros. For Wii was also the first Super Smash Bros. Game to be in HD, and the game looks absolutely gorgeous for it. I especially love the way that they've made third-party stages that were previously pretty darn ugly into impressive-looking set pieces. For instance, Midgar, the Final Fantasy stage. I saw what Final Fantasy VII looked like on the PlayStation. I was like, oh my gosh, this game makes me want to puke. But Midgar is like, whoa, I wouldn't mind exploring that in a full-fledged adventure mode. The characters were also beautifully animated, even if they weren't as gritty realistic as Brawl. And there were some nice tweaks. The game's speed was done really well. There were some welcoming changes to the lineup, like having Luigi actually have his vacuum for his final smash, and giving Kirby the Ultra Sword from Return to Dreamland. Little touches like that, where it made me realize that Sakurai put a lot of care into making sure that the character roster not only made sense, for the most part. I mean, I'm pretty sure no one asked for Wii Fit Trainer and characters that were freebies in Melee and Brawl that you now had to pay for. But for the most part, there was a lot of attention to detail and making sure that the characters were more playable than they were in past iterations. The game's single-player mode is mainly in the form of Classic mode. For once, All-Star mode is unlocked from the beginning. I'm not really going to say much about it apart from you fight all the fighters and you only have limited healing items. Classic mode is tied to the intensity gauge that was first released in Kid Icarus Uprising. Like, literally, word for word, exactly how it was presented in that masterpiece. Which is not a bad thing. I just wish there was a little bit more imagination and maybe a refinement of the system. Like, maybe if there was an option where you didn't have to spend gold, but you could still play on hard, you just wouldn't unlock any rewards. Something like that. Not making you have to pay to go to the harder difficulties, and if you don't have enough money, you have to go and play something else before you can do it. That's just unfair. People should be able to just jump right into their own difficulty. It's not like when you jump into a regular Smash match, and you want to face a level 9 computer opponent, Sakurai says, well, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to unlock a level 9 computer opponent. Oh wait, they already did that. It's called Amiibo. Yeah, this was the game that debuted Amiibo, and while they eventually made it into the 3DS version, they started out as a Wii U exclusive mode. If you don't know what an Amiibo is by now, I really don't know what to tell you, but They're basically the Toys for Life gimmick, but since the Wii U had an NFC reader built into the controller, which was definitely a first, it was nice to have high-quality replicas of tons of Nintendo characters, and recently they're doing more third-party characters too, that you could scan into the Wii U, and then you could evolve that fighter as your own. You could give it its own stat boosts and badges and custom moves, and eventually they'd become even tougher than a level 9 computer opponent. Well, it's unfortunate that it was locked behind a gimmick to spend even more money when, if you buy all of the DLC combined, it's actually more expensive than the base game was at launch. Amiibos, on the other hand, for competitive players like my brother, he found, and I kind of agree with him, that they sometimes got unnatural stat boosts even if you didn't give them anything. They had way more defense than they should have had, and they were also more powerful, because he's the type of guy that he studies stuff like launch percentages and how much you should be able to knock someone back with a certain damage percentage. Other than that, this was a really cool concept, and I'm really glad that I was able to expand my Amiibo collection and take this amazing idea and get some really nice fan service in some of the other games. Other than that, I could spend all day talking about Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and that would make this review incredibly boring. Like, yeah, you already know there's going to be a lot of items. As far as the character roster, you know that all the characters in this are going to be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, so why even talk about it? You also know that every stage is going to have a Final Destination form, but that's no longer relevant, because now every stage in Smash Ultimate will have not only a Final Destination, but also a Battlefield form. So talking about this game is kind of pointless in the long run. So for now, I'll just say it really stinks that while they do have some nice fan servicey cutscenes, including a nice reimagining of the Arena Ferox fight from Fire Emblem Awakening, it really is a shame that this game couldn't have embraced even just a little bit of a story mode. Heck, the 3DS version doesn't even have an opening cutscene. Even the Nintendo 64 game had an opening cutscene. How could that have been too taxing on the 3DS's horsepower? Nevertheless, if you don't own a Switch and you really want the best Super Smash Bros. Game ever and you don't know where to look, I would probably point at this, but I know that Super Smash Bros. Fans are very divided about what their favorite is. Personally, I'm always going to say that Super Smash Bros. Brawl, it had the Subspace Emissary, it had an actually good stage builder. The one in this game is a joke. Don't even get me started on the limited options. And it also just introduced we're going to cram a ton of content into it. This game refined Brawl, but it didn't revolutionize the series either. It didn't make people go, whoa, so this is the new direction Smash is going. It was mostly more of just, whoa, more Smash, and it's in HD, and it's going to have DLC, so let's empty our wallets now. This is by no means a bad game, as I've been trying to say this entire review. I just might have said it in a different take. This game allows for pretty much every kind of player interaction possible, including even making a GameCube controller adapter that, well, this was the only Wii U game it ever worked for. And even allowing you to use the 3DS, Wii Remote Sideways, you name it, as a controller, so that 8 people could actually play at the same time, as chaotic as it was. So yeah, I would recommend getting this game. Maybe wait for it to go on sale now that you know that Smash Ultimate's going to trump it in every way, or get the 3DS version. It is very, very similar, and it also has the Smash Run. So if you're really, really, really wanting the Subspace Emissary to come back, Smash Run is basically what Subspace Emissary was, but without a story. So, I guess that'll do. Although, personally, I'm going to be moaning and groaning and maybe replaying some of Brawl's story mode if I don't get myself a good, meaty single-player experience. With that, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you guys will let me know what other videos you'd like me to re-review or review for the first time now that I have my capture card. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, God bless, and don't try to do an 8-player Smash in real life. People could get hurt. Bye!
Blooded for him.